Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Today I'm sharing the cards I made using Queen & Company's adorable Gnomies kit. Unfortunately, the kit has sold out, but it will be restocked in April. They did just release another fun kit called Garden Party. The paper collection I'm using for a few of the cards is from the Garden Party kit, so that one looks like a lot of fun as well. Let's go ahead and get started with my first set of cards. I'll be making 2 of each card, but I'm only going to show the process of assembling 1. I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is from Mojo Monday. It's number 542. And if you are interested in any of the sketches I share, I have all of that information on my coordinating blog post, and that link is provided in the description box below. I have this blue polka dot paper for the background, this little strip that goes down the middle. I decided to bring in some Love from Lizi peel off stickers. This is the silver holographic color, and I lined that blue polka dot paper with those peel offs. I cut the end a little bit longer and wrapped it around the back. That way it's not going to come off later. Since most of that area is going to be covered up, I didn't need to use a full strip of the peel-offs. I'm going to bring in another peel-off color. This is a green mirror. Again, just using some smaller pieces, lining the very top of that light green pattern paper. I'm not going to put one on the bottom since that's going to be covered up with another element. I'm going to layer this on some blue cardstock. I used a scalloped rectangle die to cut out this background piece. Put my card front onto a card base. I used one of Queen & Company's foundation die sets for this large scallop circle die cut. I'm going to adhere that to the card, and I am following this sketch fairly closely. Now for this card, I'll be assembling the little mushroom house. This is so cute. I have the red polka dot paper, used the outline die for that background piece, removed the backing on the foam since it is double-sided, attached that foam to the outline die cut, and now I'll fill it with an assortment of shaker toppings. I have some of the ombre pearls, some little butterflies that are from the bug kit refill. I still had some of them left and they matched perfectly. And then I also put in some of the clear diamonds. So after I have all the shaker toppings in place, remove the other side of that foam backing, attach the pre-cut acetate, and then glue on that frame. I did put my acrylic block on top just to let that glue dry. So once that's all dry, I can start assembling the rest of the little house. There's a cute little door that has the fun stitched detail on it. I'm going to glue the bottom portion of the mushroom, I guess the stem, and then I'll put liquid adhesive on the back of the shaker piece. I'll put my acrylic block on top for some extra weight while the glue dries. There's also the little window. So it has this background piece, and then I used a small circle die for this white piece to go behind the window. Just gluing those together. And then I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and glue it to the door. Try to get it nice and straight. And next are the teeny tiny little mushroom dies. So it has one die that cuts out the main mushroom shape, and then there's another die that has all the mushroom tops. So the one mushroom that has the little slanted piece goes on the top of the mushroom, so it's the little chimney. And I'll assemble the other mushrooms here later. I used a grass border die by Lawn Fun, cut out 2 pieces. The solid green paper is from the Garden Party solid 6x6 paper pad. The colors match perfectly with the pattern paper. Glued both of those down, layered them slightly so it has a little bit of dimension to it. I've already gone ahead and stamped out the sentiment. This is "May life in your new home be magical." I cut some fishtails on both ends. I'm going to layer that on that same dark blue cardstock. And I leave about 1/8 of an inch for my matted layers. Before I adhere this to the card, I'm putting a scrap piece of cardstock on the lower portion of the sentiment where it goes off of that grassy border. Just trying to keep everything at the same level. Now it's time to start assembling the rest of the little tiny mushrooms. So I'm putting glue on the top portion, and then I'll adhere the colored part of the mushroom, so the mushroom top. And I'm using my tweezers since these are super tiny pieces, especially this last mushroom, but they're so sweet. Then I'll put liquid adhesive on the back of the mushroom die cut and adhere them above the sentiment on the right hand side. And I'm having them stand on the very top of that sentiment layer. The little mushrooms are so adorable. I think I use them on every single card. They do take a little bit longer to assemble the two pieces, but it's worth it. Now to finish off the card, I'm using some of the flowers. This flower die is included in the kit. And then the leaf die is from, I believe it's foundation set number 9. I will have links in the description box. I cut the leaves out of some beautiful iridescent cardstock by Tonic Studios. I love that extra shimmer. So I'm just assembling all the little pieces. The yellow flower is going to go on the mushroom. I like to add those extra pieces of cardstock to keep everything level. Then I'll start assembling the pink and red flowers that are going to go in the lower left-hand corner. With that specialty cardstock, it does have a slick finish, so I do have to hold the pieces together just a little bit longer until the glue adheres. But once it adheres, it's not coming apart. I'm adding some thin foam squares to the back of the two flowers. I'll remove the release paper and then adhere them to the left of the sentiment, trying to make sure not to cover up any of the letters on the sentiment. I didn't think the card needed a lot of extra embellishments, but I am going to add some of Queen & Company's glitter globes to the center of the 3 flowers. I'm not sure if this is still a bling they sell. I will add a link for all of Queen & Company's bling. They change it quite a bit and always introduce some beautiful new styles. I'm going to use a white gel pen and add some polka dots to the mushroom tops. And then my card is all finished. And I did make 2 using this same design. Queen & Company shaker kits are so fun to use and super easy. If you've never tried a shaker card before, I highly recommend their kits. Now moving on to the next set of cards, I'm using another Mojo Monday sketch. This is number 553. It's a mini slim edition size. So it's 3.5 inches by 6 inches. It's a little narrower and a little bit longer than an A2 size card. I have some white shimmer paper for the background. I'm using that Garden Party pattern paper again. I have 2 different pattern papers, the striped paper at the bottom and then a yellow tone-on-tone floral paper for that larger rectangle piece. For that gap between the 2 pattern papers, I am putting a scrap piece of cardstock, and then I'll put this solid piece of light green paper across. Just trim away the extra. So there's the beautiful Garden Party papers. These are so much fun. And you can purchase the paper pads individually. You don't have to purchase them with the kit. I'm using another Love from Lizi peel-off, putting it across the center of that green piece. I used the silver color this time. Then I have a scallop border. This is another Queen & Company die set. I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it underneath that green border. Then I'll put some ATG on the back of this panel, layer it on some dark blue cardstock, and then I'll layer this piece on that same iridescent green cardstock. And you can see there's a bunch of hearts cut out of the back. I did that just to save some of the paper, so I'll use them on another project. Put this piece onto a card base, and this is a card base I had to custom make since it is an odd size. I do prefer to have top folding card bases, but I don't have any 120-pound cardstock that's 12 inches long. So I just made do and have the side fold instead. For this card, I'll be assembling one of the gnomes. And I've already assembled the little shaker portion, the little hat, just to save on time on this video. So this green piece is the body, and then I have some gray paper I used for the beard. Add some liquid adhesive to the back of the hat and glue that in place. I'll put my acrylic block on top for that added weight. Here are the cute little shoes, and lots of tiny pieces in this kit, but it's so cute. So I'm just gonna glue them down using some liquid adhesive. And for the little mushrooms, I've also saved on time and I've assembled the little top portion and glued it to the back of the mushroom. For the nose, I'm gonna pop it up with a thin foam square and then just adhere it right underneath the hat. And there's also a little heart and tiny hands that are included in the kit. So I use that green iridescent cardstock for the heart. And now I'm gluing the hands on the outside, so it looks like the gnome is holding that heart. So sweet. I'll put some foam squares on the back of the heart and adhere it underneath the gnome's nose. So at first I didn't let the glue dry long enough for those hands, so they kept slipping on me. Already stamped out the sentiment. This is "Thanks for being a friend like gnome one else." Queen & Company always has such fun sentiments and great fonts. Even when I'm not using a Queen & Company kit, I tend to reach for their sentiment stamp sets. They're always my favorite. I am gonna pop up this sentiment strip, use some more of the thin foam squares, and I'll center it underneath the gnome. So now you're going to see part of that scallop border, but I think there's enough so it still looks good. I'll add some liquid adhesive to the back of the mushrooms and adhere them to the right side of the gnome. I used the same blue polka dot pattern paper for the larger mushroom and then some of the solids for the smaller mushrooms. Wanted to still stay within that green, blue, and yellow colors. Now for the hearts that go in that upper right-hand corner, I use some of Queen & Company's foundation die sets. I think it's set number 9 again. For the green, I did cut out 2 of them since it is just that thin pattern paper. I wanted to make it a little thicker, so I just glued the 2 pieces together and then I popped them up using some thin foam squares. For embellishments on the card, I'm using some of the ice flowers and also some jelly gems. And I believe the jelly gems have been discontinued, or at least they currently don't have them in stock. So there is my finished card. I love how this one turned out. And again, I did make 2 using the same design. Now moving on to card design number 3, and I won't be using a card sketch this time. I'm using the pattern paper. This is their summer celebrations, and I also have the coordinating solids. I think I lost the cover to that pack though. I love this paper collection. Half of it is patriotic and the other half has some nice summer spring colors with the pinks and the greens and the blues. So I have this beautiful floral paper for the background, layering that on some dark blue cardstock. And then I used the scalloped rectangle die, which is from one of their foundation die sets. I also have 2 of their stitched strip dies. Used one with some blue paper and then this stripe paper for the smaller strip. Just adhere the 2 pieces together, put it at the lower portion of the card, and I'll just trim away the extra. The majority of the dies I'm using on my cards are either from the kit or from one of Queen & Company's foundation die sets. They currently have 10 different sets plus a holiday set, and they have more coming out soon. I love their foundation die sets. For the image on this card, I'm assembling the little girl gnome, and she is so sweet. I had to make a pink gnome. So I have her hat already all assembled. I used some of their pearlies, some diamonds, and the little white hearts for the shaker toppings. The little pink piece is her body, and then the oval is her head. I used some of the yellow pattern paper from the Garden Party kit for the braids. When assembling the little girl gnome, I recommend adding the body, the head, and the braids before adding the hat, since you will be covering up that top portion of the braids. I tried it the other way first, and it just didn't look quite right. So I suggest doing it the way I'm doing it on the video. So there are the two little ovals. These are her feet. I decided to pop those up using some foam squares. Trying to make sure to get them centered. So I guess they're her shoes, not her feet. The kit also has the teeny tiny die to add a bow to her braids. So I used some pink glitter cardstock for those. I mean, what little girl gnome wouldn't want sparkly bows on her braids, especially when they're pink? So I have her nose again, and I'll pop that up using a thin foam square and just attach it right underneath the rim of the hat. And then there's another set of little hands, and she's going to hug this little heart. I used some pink satin cardstock for the heart. I've already added some foam squares to the back of the heart to add that dimension. Once that dries, I'll be able to adhere it. But first, I'll start working on the sentiment. This is, "There is no one I'd rather celebrate than you." I added a piece of red line tape to the back of the sentiment and then attached it to the card. Now that the glue has dried on the heart, I'm gonna attach it underneath the girl's head. Isn't she so sweet? Now to finish off the card, I'm gonna add quite a few flowers and some shiny leaves. These are all dies from Queen & Company's Foundation die set number 9. It has lots of flowers and sprigs, there's hearts, there's butterflies. There are so many pieces included in this set. It's one of my favorites. I have 2 different size flowers. Did one in the light blue, one in the dark blue. Use some more of that green iridescent cardstock for the leaves. The green matches really nicely to the green on the pattern paper. I'll be popping up most of the flowers. I'm going to use some more of those thin foam squares. I'll put the one flower above the sentiment in the lower right hand corner, and then the other 2 will go in the upper left hand corner. And I did give the glue a chance to dry before I started adding them to the card, since that cardstock is fairly slick. So once the 2 flowers are on, I'm going to add these little sprigs. They are a little longer than I wanted, so I'm cutting them in half, trimming away that extra little bit. So now they're a better length and they're not going to hang off of the card too much. Put some liquid adhesive on the back side, just at the very lower portion of that little stem, and then I'll tuck them in underneath the flowers and the leaves. Trying to make everything look fairly balanced. I decided not to add any of the little sprigs to that lower right-hand flower though. Now to finish off the card, I'm bringing out an assortment of Queen & Company bling. I have some of the iridescent goosebumps for the center of the flowers. I'm going to add one of the pink spirals to the little girl's hat. She needed a little extra sparkle. And then I'm using some of the pink jelly gems. I just put one on the right side of the heart. So there is my finished card, and I did make 2. This little girl gnome is my favorite. She's so cute. Now moving on to card design number 4. This is my final card. I'm using that same summer celebration paper collection, this time in the patriotic colors. So I have the red, white, and blue striped paper. I think it actually has gray on there as well. Layered that on some blue cardstock. Did not get that centered at all, so I had to pull it up and then wipe away some of that ATG tape, but it was still usable, so it worked out fine. I have this stitched rectangle frame, again from one of Queen & Company's foundation die sets. I can't think of which one it is anymore. I saved that inside cut apart piece and used a pierced heart die by Honeybee Stamps. So it has this really fun heart pattern in the background. It probably would have been better to adhere that inside rectangle first and then attach the frame around it, since I do have a slight gap between the two pieces, but it's fine. I added a Love from Lizi peel off to the lower portion of the frame, going over that stitch detail, and you'll see why later on the card. It doesn't really make sense at this point. I'm going to assemble another of the mushroom houses, but this time I'm not making a shaker. Their dies were great as shakers or non-shakers. I did decide to pop up the top portion of the mushroom, but you could leave it flat as well. The kit includes this fun little picket fence. So I cut out 3 different pieces. I used some white shimmer paper, and then I'll adhere them around the mushroom. So it's a little mushroom house. Once I get all 3 of the fence pieces attached, I think having that peel off and covering up that stitch detail separates that bottom portion from the frame that goes around the little mushroom. I've stamped out the sentiment, "There is no place like gnome." So sweet. I used the same color paper and then just popped it up with some foam dimension. I'm going to add a butterfly to the upper right hand corner. This little die is from the set number 9. I added 1 foam square underneath the top portion of the wings so it has a little bit of dimension, and I used liquid adhesive to adhere the body. Now I have a whole bunch of the little mushrooms I've already glued on the tops, and I'm going to speed this portion up quite a bit as I glue down all kinds of little mushrooms outside this white picket fence. And they're all going to be in the fun red, white, and blue. Although I guess it's really red, blue, and gray, since I don't have any white on the mushrooms. It would have blended in too much with that white picket fence. I'm trying to make them look random and not do a pattern. So I'm rotating the blues and the reds, doing the different sizes. And then I did add the little chimney to the mushroom house. Decided to use the red paper for that little mushroom top. So there are all my fun little adorable mushrooms. For the butterfly, I decided to add some of the Love from Lizi mini circle peel-offs. This is the silver color, and I'm just adding the spots to the butterfly wings. For a few final finishing touches, I'm adding the Nuvo glitter drops in the white blizzard color. I'm putting just a small strip of it on the edge, kind of the outside edge of the mushrooms. It'll add a little bit of sparkle. I'll also use a glitter brush from scrapbook.com and add it to the body of the butterfly. Oh, and I also did the window. And there is my finished card. I didn't realize till later that I forgot to add the bling. So on the other card, which I did make a shaker card since I wanted to use the little mushroom shakers that are included in the kit. And I added some ice flowers and some of the blue jelly gems. Now here's another look at the 8 cards I made using Queen & Company's Gnomies Shaker Kit. This kit is absolutely adorable. It does not include a paper collection, so you will need to bring in your own. Queen & Company does sell a fun variety of paper collections. Now currently the Gnomies kit is sold out, but it will be restocked in a couple months. You can always go and check out their brand new garden party kit. It looks like so much fun. There are flowers, rain boots, a watering can, lots of fun images. I will have a link for the garden party kit and all the other products I used in this video listed in the description box below. These are affiliate links. I will earn a small commission when you make a purchase using those links at no additional cost to you. I'm so grateful to everyone who helps support my channel by using those links. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.